What's going on, all you wild ghouls and spirits? Logan Myerz back here for Cinephellas.com doing more 31 Days of Horror. Tonight I'm going to be talking about a brand new TV show that just premiered on Netflix, the second season of Mike Flanagan's The Haunting of Bly Manor. So I want to start off by saying I'm a huge Mike Flanagan fan. Love all his work, love his first season of Haunting of Hill House, Doctor Sleep, Oculus, Hush. The list goes on and on. He's a very talented horror director. Flanagan has a really intricate detail with his camera work, always has like really dark colors in his TV shows and movies, and just a really excellent all-around director, really smart dude, and he's the showrunner of The Haunting of Bly Manor. He only directs the first episode. So the setup of the second season, there's the death of an au pair or nanny. An American girl basically goes to England, and she's interviewed by this guy, and gets the position to be the nanny or au pair of this family in England in the Bly Manor. And there's like two little kids. It's like a little girl and a little boy. She interviews with Henry Thomas, which is no stranger to the Flanagan universe. He was in the first season and he was in some other films too. But really great, underrated actor. He's been acting forever. He was the kid in E.T., but he's not really recognized as much, even though he pretty much looks exactly the same as he did as a kid. He's really great in the Flanagan universe, always playing different characters, and he really brings out his English accent in this season, The Haunting of Bly Manor. He's Henry Wingard. He's the uncle of young Miles and Flora. He's taking care of them after something tragic happens in their family. So that being said, Victoria Pedretti's character Danny gets the position. She moves out to Bly Manor to take care of these kids, and she starts noticing a lot of weird and spooky things happening in the house. And there's also something mysterious about her background. We get short glimpses of that throughout the season as well, having to do with mirrors. So we're introduced to Owen. He's the chef or the cook for the family. He's played by Raoul Kali. The other person they introduce is Mrs. Grose, played by Tania Miller. And they're new faces that I've never seen before, but they're really great in this season. Then we're also introduced to the gardener, Jamie, played by Amelia Eve. She was really great, and she has a bigger arc or something to do with one of the main characters this season. Early on in the first episode, we're introduced to a narrator of the story. She's narrating this throughout basically the beginning of it to the very end, where it all kind of ties in with the narration and that character and other people in this season. But essentially, The Haunting of Bly Manor is a Gothic love story. It's not like The Haunting of Hill House, which really disappointed me, because I'm more into the spooky, supernatural, ghost stuff, things that jump out at you, compared to like slow burns and love stories and things like that. So I will say that I was a bit disappointed with this season. Early on, I just felt like the first 5-6 episodes just really dragged. Really slow telling a story. I get that they're building up to something, but I guess I just never really felt attached to any of the characters or the stories. I really had a hard time focusing on it and really getting involved this season, but I will say that the final episodes of season 2 were really great. Another character they introduced is Peter, and another actor that we've seen with working with Flanagan in the past, Oliver Jackson-Cohen. Huge fan of his. I thought he was one of the better performances this season. Had a really thick English accent, I think. He was really kind of spooky in certain scenes, and then finding out about his backstory and his family was really heartbreaking. But like I was saying, this is definitely a love story compared to the first season, where it was very spooky, having to do with this family and this house, and you had different elements in the background. This time around, The Haunting of Bly Manor, it's a love story, and you have the kind of spooky elements in the background, and it's really not a primary focus, and it's really not a scary show. I thought there was one episode that was pretty spooky, but out of the 9, it just wasn't scary at all, and just more focusing on these characters, how they interact with one another, how these characters are in love with somebody, and it's kind of a hidden love, or they're really direct about it. It's just all focusing on love in different aspects and different people. But I will say the cinematography and the set design is absolutely beautiful, jaw-dropping, like how good it is in the show. I love the overall colors they use to really make a Gothic feel to this huge, massive house mansion in the middle of England. I love the Bly Manor house. It's absolutely beautiful, like super old. It's a place I would definitely want to hang out and live in. It has a huge garden, a whole bunch of people that work there, and that's really the ultimate life. And I love how they really capture the entire house, how it really sets the mood of what they're going for. The cinematography, camera work is absolutely beautiful, one of the best parts of the show. But we can't have a Mike Flanagan TV show or movie without his wife, Kate Siegel. Really great in the show. She had a small part. She played the lady in the water, the lady in the lake, and she was really spooky. There was episode 8, and I thought they should have put episode 8 as the first episode of the season. I thought it would have made more sense. But if you guys are looking for that Haunting of Hill House kind of feel and vibe, episode 8 is where it's at. Very spooky and unsettling about it. I love Kate Siegel, how she did this character, playing this lady, and everything she went through and the sickness she went through and what the house has to do with her and why she's kind of still hanging around that place. Really one of the best episodes of the season next to the last one. So leading up until the very end of the season, episode 9, it really kind of comes full circle like I was talking about earlier. We find out the whole season has to do with this character narrating the story and how these people kind of grow up. Some are living, some are dead. How they all grow up, find out the true meaning behind this Gothic love story having to do with these 2 women and other people that lived at Bly Manor. All these, how the way they interact and how they fell in love with one another. Overall, it was pretty cool how they kind of tied everything in and how everything worked out, having to do with the beginning. But I think just the middle part from the second on to the episode 7 just really dragged for me, really slow. And it just kind of brought me out of the show. So that's what kind of bummed me out about it. But I will say there were some pretty good performances. Victoria Pedretti was really good. Oliver Jackson-Cohen. I loved Henry Thomas playing Henry Wingrave. Really great performance. I loved how he pulled off the English accent, kind of a drunk, not really caring about his family. He's very standoffish, and you figure out what exactly happened to him having to do with his niece and nephew. So I thought he was really great in this as well. I thought Tania Miller was really surprisingly good in the show. She was one of the better performances. First time seeing her in a TV show, and I really like to see her performances in upcoming movies and TV and see where her career goes. And I really loved the cinematography, set design. I really loved the costumes as well in this, how the way that people dress. This is in the 1980s, so I thought they pulled that off, even though they're in England in a huge manner. I thought the costume design looked really good. Camera work, cinematography absolutely looked beautiful. The place, again, I would absolutely love to live in, a haunted manor in England. Woo! I think just the downfall of the show was the directing. You didn't have Flanagan attached to all the episodes directing it, and you could really feel that. It felt off at times. And just a lot of the story, the whole Gothic love story, just wasn't into it and just didn't like the way they wrote these characters and kind of what they did with the characters throughout the season. So that being said, I was really excited for the Haunting of Bly Manor, but I felt like I was let down. I only ended up liking 2 or 3 out of the 9 episodes. Something off about it and just something completely different, something I didn't expect what they did with it, and I just didn't really feel it. But I did like the returning actors and actresses from the Haunting of Hill House. I liked how they had different characters in this season, and I liked their performances. A lot of newcomers in this season as well, and I thought they did pretty good with their characters. But overall, it was kind of a mess and something I just really couldn't get into. A bit slow for me, and I just didn't like the whole Gothic love story feel to it. It reminded me much of Crimson Peak, if you guys have seen that. That movie was kind of a letdown too. It looked beautiful, just kind of a lackluster story and characters in the film. So Haunting of Bly Manor is a show I probably wouldn't recommend to watch during the Halloween season because it didn't really have that many spooky parts to it in terms of like ghosts and things jumping out at you. It's more of a love story. It's a show that maybe I'd watch during the holiday season when you're hanging out with your loved ones. I think it would be a good time to watch it, but not really during Halloween. It didn't have that spooky October feel to it, unfortunately. So I will say that. With that being said, I'm giving The Haunting of Bly Manor, currently streaming on Netflix, a 2.5 out of 5 Henry Thomas hair pieces. I want to hear what you guys think of Haunting of Bly Manor. What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Did you like it more than the Haunting of Hill House? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe. This is Logan Myerz signing out from Bly Manor. Until the next review for 31 Days of Horror. Cheers!